In this video, I'm going to teach you the way to have the best morning that you've ever had every day without having to wake up any earlier. What are you talking about? I'm talking about this. I'm going to give you frameworks. I'm going to give you principles. I'm going to go into so many things today, right? And I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to tell you there's so many different things that you could do right now to actually have the best morning that you ever have. Now, why would you want to have the best morning? Because so many people say if you want to win the day, you got to win the morning. But I'm going to teach you a hack that nobody talks about ever. I've never seen anybody talk about this, but it's truly this. If you want to win the morning, you have to win the night before. See, listen, welcome to the Perspective Pause. And before we get started, if you're watching this right now, I need to tell you that 30% of the people that do watch this, they don't like, they don't subscribe, and they don't click the bell for notifications. But you're not 30% of people. You're going to be the 70% because here's the thing, right? You want to grow. So let's go. I want to hop into this today to let you guys see why I believe that having a better morning will actually give you a better life, because it's how you start, right? I know a lot of people say it's not how you start, it's how you finish, but understand something. I'm going to teach you some things today. They're going to help you see things completely differently, because on this channel and during the Perspective Pause, I like to say that you don't need a new life. You just need a new lens. And see, too many times do we think that we're going to wake up earlier in the morning and our morning is going to be better. Or if I do 100 different things that, I can actually improve my life. But like we've been saying on a lot of these videos lately, that your life plus less equals more. That's the best equation that I could give you right now, is that your life plus less equals more. So with that being said, let's jump into it. So we don't have our iPad hooked up. Okay, cool. So this is a live stream. I don't want anybody to feel the point like they're missing out on anything by doing that. But I also need to make sure that we are hooked up properly here. So let's reconfigure this here. Excuse me just a second. This is live. This is the things that happen when you're on a live stream. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get to our whiteboard that we have here. And we're going to go into different types of illustrations, drawings, principles, parables, pictures, all sorts of different things to help you be able to have the best morning ever. While I get this situated, let me tell you, why is morning so important to me? Well, here's the thing. Back in 2017, I went through a divorce that caused me to become a single father. And through that process, I had a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, and I found myself in a position to where I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. I got to a place where I was extremely depressed. I was having such bad anxiety. I was on medication. I was afraid to drive across a bridge. I would avoid social like large crowds, and I did social distancing before social distancing was a thing during COVID, and I isolated myself, and I got to a point where I was so low. I literally was so low that I got to a place where I couldn't take it anymore. And financially, I was struggling tremendously. So I went ahead and literally pawned everything I had. And absolutely everything wasn't enough, because I remember there was a $3,000, and I'll get into the story a little bit deeper on another video, but I needed $3,000 to go to a deposition while I was going to a court hearing for split custody of our daughters at the time. And it was a very traumatic time because there was so much anger, and there was so much hate, and I wasn't who I am today. I didn't have actually all of the just the mental awareness, I guess you could say, and really I really didn't work on myself. I didn't understand what personal development meant. And so I was just really being controlled by my emotions. So by being controlled by my emotions, it caused me to do whatever just happened throughout my day. And literally I was just propelled and pulled to do whatever I felt. So whatever I felt, I thought was a fact. And later on, I realized, but at this time, I didn't know that our feelings are not actually facts, and that our feelings are created from our thoughts and so forth, right? But so what I want to say to that is this. I was in a position to where I realized that man, I was losing control, and I didn't have the thing that I wanted so bad. And what was that? At the time, it was money, right? So I wasn't making any money because I was allowing the things that were external to affect me internally. So I got to a point, it was my lowest point, and I attempted to commit suicide. I had a 9 millimeter Springfield XDM model, and I went to go pawn this at the pawn shop. But while I was sitting in the pawn shop, I actually sat there and I thought to myself, this was my way out. So I went home, wrote a letter to my family, and I actually did the unthinkable. I put this thing in my mouth and I pulled the trigger, and nothing happened, which is wild, right? But then soon to realize pretty quickly that it wasn't actually cocked back. So I cocked it back, put it back in my mouth, and I went ahead to just, just man, it gives me chills thinking about it, and it's like right before I pulled the trigger, um, there was a boom, boom, boom on the door, and it was my daughters. And my ex-wife at the time dropped them off early, and I didn't know, right? And going through a process that low in life, but in that very moment, I remember God. If I ever heard the voice of God, that was, man, it was heavy, or my intuition, or the Holy Spirit, and it was just a factor of saying, whatever came over me at that moment, I believe it was God, said, hey, listen, you're focused on the one thing that you don't have. Adjust your focus on all the things that you do have. And in that moment, it was like somebody was telling me what to do, but it was like, okay, you could tell me what to do, but it's going to take me to have to go do it, right? And so it took me a long time to come out of this state of depression. And so every single day I would wake up in the morning and I wouldn't want to get out of bed. And I would just constantly look at the problem over and over and over and over and over again, right? And so it got to a point when I really realized that I had to focus on things in small measures, right? Small steps. So I had to come up with something to help me actually get through a couple of minutes of my day. And I created something for myself called 2 minutes to win it, right? And basically I would write down, just like for 2 minutes, I would write down the things that I was grateful for. That was it. And I used to remember that was the best 2 minutes of my day. I would just focus on those 2 minutes every day. And only even being 2 minutes, it made me feel like I had some hope. It empowered me to believe that I know there was 1,440 minutes in a day, but I took 2 of them out to write down what I was grateful for, celebrating myself, affirmations, just doing something positive to get me to a place to where I was finally seeing that there was this glimmer of hope and this silver lining around all of the issues and the problems in my life at the time. So through that process, I started learning more. I started doing more things. And in this video, I want to teach you exactly some of those small steps that caused me to be able to have the best morning I ever had, and actually having it every single day. And it's not like Ashton Hall waking up, with the with the amazing morning routine of waking up at 5 a.m. and then doing all these things. No, you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to have the best morning ever. It's not what time you wake up, it's what you do when you wake up. Let me repeat that. It's not what time you wake up, it's actually what you do when you wake up. So we're going to kind of go into that today, and let's see if my iPad is up and running here, because I know it wasn't just a minute ago. Let's see if it's working. I believe it is. All right, cool. So let's get into the video today. If anybody's tuning in on this live stream, let me know where you're tuning in from, and would love to hear how you're feeling today, and get ready for some high levels of value. So when I said earlier, I said that in order to win the morning, we have to win the night before. Now, what does that mean? It means a couple of things. And I'm going to start off by kind of going into a metaphor, right? And let me give you a stat too. 92% of successful people actually have a plan the night before they wake up, right? Everybody talks about when you wake up, what do you do? But if you're just thinking about, let me come back here for a second. But if you're just thinking about what do I do to win the morning without having a plan the night before, you're losing. So I always like to say, if you woke up, you're winning, because God woke you up today, and so many other reasons, right? But you're not really going to win the day unless you plan the night before. right? 92%, according to Harvard, 92% of people actually that are successful are in a position to where they actually plan their days the night before. And 18% of people don't. So it makes you see that, 82% of people don't plan their day the day before. They literally wake up every single day and just allow themselves to go wherever the wind blows. Wherever their feelings go, that's where it takes them. And that's why everybody is walking around like zombies right now, to where they're all distracted and they're allowing social media to affect them. They don't know what their boundaries are. They don't know exactly where to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to focus on this today. And they don't even know how to celebrate themselves. So in this video, I'm going to go over 3 things for the sake of time. I know we're already 15 minutes in and my videos aren't long. It's just the introduction that is. So I appreciate you bearing with this, but I promise this is going to be extremely valuable. It's going to change your life. So the first thing I want to kind of go over is that you need to focus on the 3 things, right? The night before, the morning of, but then also the celebration. And what is the celebration? The celebration is basically, we woke up winning, but the focus on celebrating your progress. Because I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know how many of you guys are entrepreneurs on here, but I do know that one of the things that entrepreneurs struggle with the most is delayed gratification and then trusting the process. And people say trust the process all day long, but the problem there is with trusting the process is that we don't talk about our progress. So when somebody says, how do I trust the process? It's a simple answer. It's that you have to celebrate your progress. Now, a lot of people say don't celebrate your wins because you actually will get caught up in them and you won't make any more progress. But I'm not talking about celebrating the same win that you had 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 months ago. I'm talking about finding the win from yesterday to give you that celebration for today. Because when you celebrate, you can accelerate. And when you accelerate, you elevate, right? And too many times do we not focus on the actual celebration of our progression. We're saying trust the process, but that sounds painful. And as humans, we do know that pain is the only way that we grow, but we still avoid it, which is crazy, right? Like when you really think about it, if we know that pain is going to help us grow, why do we avoid it so much? Because we don't want to feel it, because we get caught up in our feelings. So I'm going to kind of give you a way to rewire your brain. So then that way, when the feelings come, you could just kind of be aware of what's going on instead of getting caught up in them. Hopefully that makes sense. So the first thing I want to say today is that what does win mean, right? Wake up winning is our thumbnail. The title of this video is how to have the best morning ever without waking up any earlier. So the first thing I'd like to say is what does win stand for? Well, to me, I break down words and I have acronyms and metaphors for just about anything. My creativity takes over, which allows me to remember things. And this is just the things that you're going to hear me talk about are all things that I'm usually creating completely out of my own creativity to help people understand how to apply things. Because I don't think we need more information. I think we need more application. But what does WIN stand for? To me, this is what WIN stands for. What's important now? Now, many people could say WIN stands for something like achieving success or, being able to accomplish something. For me, it stands for what's important now. I'm all about adjusting your focus and changing the way that you look at things. So when you think about somebody saying that I'm winning, what are they doing? They're most likely focusing on what's important now. Because the distractions are what take us away from winning, right? More distractions, less winning. More winning, less distractions. It's that simple. So when we think about win, I kind of want to help you guys see this framework, right? So what we want to do is we want to focus on 3 things. And this is, when I say wake up winning, this is the way to actually be able to do that. You got to focus on these 3 things, right? So the W is going to stand for the wins from today. So this is something that you do every night, right? You focus on the wins from the day. And the problem is that I coach people. There's a couple different things that I do, right? But one of the things that I do is I coach people to help them with their mindset and understanding that whether it's finance, whether it's business, whatever it is, like you're never going to grow anything in your life larger than the willing that you're willing to grow yourself. You're not going to grow something bigger than you grow yourself. You must grow. You must become greater than what you are building, right? So anyway, so wins from today. What's important now? Number one, the wins from today. So what is that? That means that we're going to focus on that the night before. So we're going to make sure that before we go to sleep at night, we're going to focus on that. That's the first thing, right? Number two, we're going to focus on the important moments. This will help you see your progress too. Because too many times, I think, as entrepreneurs, well, at least for myself, what's crazy is that we focus on where we're going so much versus how far we've come or what we've already done. And the wins from today, let me give you an example too. I think I'm rushing too fast. And I may have to make a part 2 to this video just to let you know. I may have to because I don't want you to miss this information. So the wins from today. The wins from today are going to be things like what you said you were going to do and you actually did. So what I like to call is you got people that call something a to-do list. And then what I like to call it is a did-do list, right? So you have two things here, right? You have a to-do list and you have a did-do list. So there's a lot of things that we say that we need to do, but how many of those things did we do? So you can have a to-do list. You must have a to-do list to get anything accomplished, right? But you also have a did-do list to be able to give yourself the opportunity to celebrate a win. So how do you find a win in the day? Well, look at your to-do list and see what you did do on your to-do. Follow me? So take what you said you were going to do and then align it with what you did do. And when those come together, you start building that level of self-confidence. You start seeing progress. You stop beating yourself up because the problem is that we don't write down what we say we need to do. So then we don't do something, and then we know we needed to do something, but we decided not to do something. So we end up in this vicious circle of beating ourselves up consistently. So finding a win for the day. How do you do that? What did you say you were going to do, and what did you do? Celebrate that. Celebrate that. 99% of people don't do what they say they're going to do. Or if they do what they say they're going to do, they don't even remember it, because they're too distracted. Secondly, important moments, right? The important moments in life. What are some of the things right now that you have in your life that maybe you did with your family, that what you did with yourself, that what you did in your business, that what you did anywhere, that allowed you to see that you were present, you were stabilized in the moment, and you actually were there. A lot of us are so far in the future or so far in the past that we're never there. But what are some of the important moments that happened today? Because you may not, and this is crazy to say, but this is the truth, is that you may not have actually been there today and been present today, but at least now you can reflect on it to create that memory to understand that it happened. Because psychologically, the reason why we struggle sometimes with like our memory and not really being able to see how far we've come is because we actually weren't present in those moments. We weren't present in those moments. So the important moments are going to be the things and the times that we actually had something with our family, what we did with our business, we did with ourselves. It may be even just as simple as saying, hey, an important moment today was when I went to the gym and I had a different routine than I normally do. And the way that I felt as a result of that, I felt great because I did something completely different than I'm used to doing. That was an important moment today. When I ended up bumping into somebody at the grocery store and noticed that they needed a couple of dollars and I gave them a couple of dollars? Or, what are some of the things that were important moments? In the morning, I had breakfast with my kids before they went to school today. We fed the ducks on the lake before they went to school today. And those are things that I'm reflecting back when I was going through tough times. Back in 2017, I used to ask myself, what are some of the important moments right now in my day, right? And those were some of the important moments that I didn't want to miss. And what was interesting is that when I used to write down feeding the ducks with my daughters before school, it was something that I was able to look back on when they went with their mom for a little while, right? Like at that time, we had split custody for that period. And during that period of time, when they weren't with me, I would be depressed. And I would feel like I didn't have much to really live for in that time, because I went from having my children all the time to only having them 50% of the time. And that was definitely a massive adjustment. I don't know if you can relate to something like that, where you were doing something for a long period of time, something happened in your life, and that was taken away from you. So it's like when things are taken away from us, sometimes we're in a state where we can't even see the good in what's going on now. But following this process, this will help you. So the two things that you would do the night before are going to be focusing on the wins from the day, and then also the important moments as well. Now, the end, that's going to be the day of, right? You're going to think about 3 things that you're grateful for. So 3 things that you're grateful for is going to be what you do now, right? So we're going to do now. Important. I know it's kind of small like that, but I just want you to break this down, right? So okay, so what's important now? So here's what we have, right? So what I'd like to do now is kind of show you that these 2 things are definitely the night before, right? So I don't really have I can't do a moon, right? I guess I could do a blue. Yeah, let me try that here. Just so you have this as a visual. We need to erase that. Just so I could do that as a visual. Let's see. So like these 2, that's a little thick. All right, let's break that down. So let's say we do this, right? Looks like a banana, but it's all good. Right, so these are the 2 that you would do the night before, and then there's one that you would do in the morning. So this is exactly how you're going to, this is one of the ways. I'm going to go over multiple ways. And again, I'll probably have a part 2 of this video, but the part 1 is really focusing on what's important now. It's all about our focus, right? I always love to use the analogy. It's like if you were to give a child a donut, would they complain about the lens? Or the lens, not the lens. My mind is racing. If you gave a child a donut, would they complain about the hole? Would the child complain about the hole in the donut? No, they wouldn't, because they'd be focused on what's important now. What's important now is that they have a donut, not the hole that's in it. What's important now is that you're blessed to have another day. What's not important is the little issues, the little problems, the little character building moments. And when we change our mindset, we can actually see what's important now, which are the greater, the more beneficial things, the blessings in our life. Hopefully you're following me, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to share was the win framework. Now I want to kind of break this down a little bit, because reflect my notes I wrote down this morning is that I want to do this here too. So let's get into another drawing here that I want to break down, because it's kind of like when we're doing those things, right? When we're focused on what's important now and we're doing these 2 things, we're able to notice that the things from last night are actually dumping everything out and giving us some space and some peace in that moment. So what I mean by that, let me do this, right? So we'll do something. I'll try to draw this up. Thought about this morning, but let me see here. I have a couple of illustrations that I drew up and want to kind of acknowledge that. So let's see here. There was also a study at the University of Florida that was done, and at the University of Florida, what they found out was that people that actually write down all of this stuff the night before, they actually fall asleep much faster and sleep throughout the night much more peacefully when they're able to dump their brain the night before. So like I said in the beginning of this video, if you want to win the morning, you have to win the night before. So here's the thing, right? So if you can tell, this is a dump truck. You know, here we go. And inside of this thing, we have probably, all sorts of different things inside of here, right? And what we've noticed is that the three things that are usually inside of this dump truck that we need to release, and let me do this really fast. There we go. The three things that we need to release from this dump truck are going to be unfinished tasks, right? Then also, I guess I could do this with, see if I can find a gray. There we go. That's going to be the worries. Oh man, I'm running out of space over here, aren't I? Yeah, I guess I am. I got another. Let's see here if this works a little bit better. May have to move all this stuff over. Move me over to the other side, I guess. Let's do that, right? Real time here. All right. So we have unfinished tasks. We have worries. And then we also have our tomorrow's to-dos. Okay. So our mind, got a little orange. Let's see here. There we go. Our mind is like a dump truck. This is a brain. Let me let you know what that is, right? So our mind is like a dump truck. And think about like all day long, you're loading it up with these things, right? And oh man, I'm drawing over myself here. Holy moly. All right, there we go. Let's do that. All right. So our mind is like a dump truck, right? And we load it up with all of these things all day long to just never get a point where we're unloading it. And if you go to sleep without unloading your truck, you're going to be sleeping in a pile. And your brain can't rest because it's trying to remember everything. It's trying to remember the unfinished tasks, tomorrow's to dos, and the worries. But when you release this, you're able to sleep in peace. So, this is interesting, right? Is that a study that was published in Personality and Social Psychology Review showed that 85% of anxiety about tomorrow's tasks can be eliminated by spending just 5 minutes planning the night before. And then also, according to sleep researchers at Baylor University, journaling about completed tasks before bed reduces cognitive anxiety by 57% and improves sleep quality significantly. Think about that, right? The reason why we're struggling at night, or even struggling during the day, is because we haven't unloaded everything that's up here. We're just stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking. And it gets to a point where it's so heavy, it's hard to pull all of that. It's hard to pull all of that unnecessary weight. So we got to let it go if we want to grow. If you want to win the morning, you got to win the night before. But you must realize that your mind is like a dump truck. And if you do not let it go of all of the things that are loaded up inside of there, you're not going to have room for anything else. And a lot of this stuff is irrelevant anyway, because these worries that you have for tomorrow, the only thing they're doing is robbing you of tonight's peace. All of these to-dos that you have, for you to try to remember those things, I mean, just take a piece of paper tonight. Just take a piece of paper. You don't need to go buy a journal. You don't need to do anything else except go get a piece of paper, or if you have a journal or anything, a notepad or something like that, and write these 3 things down that you have going on that you're thinking about, or at least keep a notepad by the bed that will allow you to go to it and dump whatever's in your head. Keep a notepad by the bed so you can dump all this stuff that's inside your head. Come on now. Hopefully you guys are following me, right? Another thing I want to talk about, and there will have to be a part 2 to this video, but another thing that I'd like to talk about is kind of like because we're talking about, we talked about the win framework, right? And we're talking about dumping things for tomorrow, but here's the thing, right? There's also one more thing, and I got this from Andy Frisella, right? And it's called the power list. The power list, right? And this power list is something that allows you to be able to know exactly what's most important to do tomorrow, right? So let's say you got 1, you got 2, and you got 3 things, right? Then you can have other things, right? Like 4, 5, 6, etc. But in order for you really to win your day, you have to do the things that you said you had to do. So let's start with like number 1. What would be the most important thing to win the day on our power list? Well, we just learned one thing, so maybe we should apply that. So what we can do is dump our brain out before bed, right? You can, what else? What else is there for you to do, right? What is the most important thing that you need to do? Maybe it's in business. Let's say, reach out to 25 people today. Maybe you reach out to 25 people, and out of those 25 people, you get a hold of 10. And after you get a hold of 10, maybe 5 of them say they'll meet with you. And then after 5 of them say they'll meet with you, maybe 1 of them makes a sale. And let's say every sale you make is $500. So in order to make $500 today all you have to do is reach out to 25 people. Because here's the thing when setting goals also, the problem is that people set a financial goal instead of an activity goal. So we're setting smart goals now by setting activity goals, because you can't control how many people say yes or no, but you can control how much your activity is. So you can control how many people that you reach out to, right? So that would be something that you can do, and it can be done. The problem is that if you write down on your did-do list versus your to-do list, what we were talking about earlier, if you write on your to-do list, I need to make X amount of money, I need to make $1,000 today, right? Then the problem with that is you can't control if you make that, but you can control if you did the activity that the result from the activity would be the $1,000. So dump out your brain before bed, reach out to 25 people. And what's number 3? We'll say make it to the gym. Here's the thing, right? The things that you're writing down here, they can be different every single day. But the most important part of this, to me, that I've realized is this. Being able to check off the boxes. A list is really not even, what is a list if you don't do what's on the list, right? I mean, think about it like that, right? What is the point of a list if you're not completing it? Now you're just wasting time. So what I've realized now is that the most important way to actually have the best morning ever is to give yourself the opportunity to feel excited about your day. Well, how can you do that? Well, take a look at yesterday. What did you do yesterday? Did you dump everything the night before? Did you do what you said you were going to do? And there's a lot of other things that I can go into, but for the sake of time, I just want to let you know that the last most important thing that we'll discuss right now would be really just focusing on where your phone's at. Because like I said a minute ago, right? Is that it's not about what time you wake up. It's about what you do when you do wake up. So if we focus on the win framework, then we're focusing on different things that we can do to make sure that we win. It's all an activity, right? It's not about achieving something. It's about the activity that we do. We can only control the activity. And no matter what's going on in the outside, right? We got to make sure it doesn't come in on the inside. We can't control what's going on out here. We can't control the contributing factors. We can't control these outside influences in our life, but we can control what's going on in here. And when we do that, we set up a gate. And so this is what I'm going to go over the last thing, right? Is the gate framework. And listen, the reason why people aren't successful in life is because they never start. Now, then after, it's not that they're not consistent, and those are the 2 reasons. But I'm here to tell you that all you have to do is pick one of these 4 things that I'm about to give you on this framework, and it'll change your life too. So any of the things that we talked about today in this video are really going to be things that are going to just take one thing, apply it, and everything will change. And it's only going to take a couple of minutes. Literally, if you were to tell somebody or somebody told you that just 5 minutes would change your whole day and could possibly change your whole life, you probably wouldn't believe it. But if somebody told you, hey, I got this program that's $2,500 and inside of it, there's all these things that you could do and it's going to rearrange the furniture in your brain and it's, you get all these things and you're going to, have the greatest life ever. Would you then believe it? I mean, I don't know. Sometimes, but really people think that things are simple. I saw a friend of mine post something yesterday when he said a lot of the problems that people have is that they say that things just aren't that simple. It's just not that easy. It really is. You just don't want to feel the pain. You just don't want to suffer. You're avoiding what's difficult because you don't want to deal with the feelings of the pain. So it's like if you were to just say, hey, all right, this may be a little painful at first, but it's only 5 minutes. It's only 5 minutes. That's it. and it changes your life. You sleep better. You have a better morning. And honestly, you're probably going to live longer because it's helping the cells in your body actually work. And listen, anything that you say to yourself, your brain is always listening. All the words that are coming out of your mouth. I mean, I always like to say that, like, there's one way that we can control our day is through our words, because it's all about what we say. And it truly starts with me, which is mindset and environment, like we talked about in the last video. It starts with me, mindset and environment. Everything in our life starts with me. And we can control all of that because what we say is what we see. So what's coming out of your mouth, whether you say, man, that's too difficult or it's too hard, you're making it difficult and hard. I mean, like, everything is simple in life. It's just there's pain attached to the simplicity. I mean, if you're in any situation in life that you don't want to be in, you can walk away from it. I hope somebody knows that right now. Like, anything that's in your life right now that's disappointing you or frustrating you, you have the ability to walk away from it. But the excuse that we say that it's too difficult or it's too much to do is the complete opposite of reality. Reality is that it's simple. The lies are what's complicated because you're like, you know what? It's not that simple because I'm going to have to, whatever you list is just going to deal with pain. I got to go through X. Why is that difficult? Because it's pain. It's not difficult. Having a conversation is not difficult. It's the thoughts in your head that are telling you what's going to happen after the conversation or during the conversation that's difficult. Leaving a job that you cannot stand is not difficult. You just say, hey, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. It's not difficult. But Chesko, it's difficult. It's hard for me to do that. It's hard for me to do these things. It may be difficult for you to do something that feels difficult, but that's all it is it feels difficult. It feels like pain, but it's simple. So watch your words. So anyway, let's go back to the GATE framework, because I'm gonna end with this, right? The GATE framework. And basically you pick one of these 4 things, just one, right? And your morning will be the best morning you ever had, and you don't have to wake up any earlier. How nice is that, right? You still can get to sleep in, because again, it's not what you do. It's not what time you wake up. It's what you do when you do wake up. It's not what time you wake up. It's what you do when you do wake up. But I would say that in part 2 of this video, I'll probably talk about how to break up with that toxic relationship between you and your snooze button. So we'll get to that. So the GATE framework, right? And I have my notes here. Where are my notes here? Where are my notes? Oh, there they are. Okay, cool. So I got the GATE framework here, and I'm going to draw just let me fix this here, right? And so we got the GATE framework, and right, and everything I do again has to go deep into a something to help you remember this, right? So the GATE framework is going to be 4 things. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. All right, cool. So the GATE framework, number 1 is going to be get moving. Get moving. Right? Number 2 is going to be acknowledge wins. And we talked about this earlier. Because when you celebrate, you accelerate. And when you accelerate, you elevate. Come on now. Number 3, talk to God. He's always there. Even if you don't feel like he is, he's still there. And these are all, we'll call these different doors, right? Just make a little illustration here for you to see this. So these are all the different doors that you can choose to walk through tomorrow, right? And the last one is going to be expand your mind. That's right. All right. So these are the 4 things that you could do, right? And so get moving. What does that mean? That means like start doing something that's going to get the blood flowing. So like I would say I mean, your body's got to warm up, right? So it's kind of like a car. Some of you guys live in places where it's really cold right now, and you have to start the car and you have to let it warm up before you can drive. It's kind of like your body and your brain, and it only takes 5 minutes. Everything that I'm telling you to do only takes a few minutes. So I would even rephrase this video: a few minutes to win it. Everything that I'm talking about, actually, you can do in a few minutes, and it will change your whole day, every day for the rest of your life. Just choose one. And so with this framework, 5 minutes, just move, because you have to get blood flow to your brain. So when you get out of bed, I mean, a lot of us are, just laying in our bed, just sideways like this, and not even looking at anything or doing anything yet. And we haven't even gotten any blood flow by standing up yet. So I would definitely recommend to put your phone like in another room or on a charger that you can't reach the phone, and just bring it over. So that way you have to get out of bed to get to it, because getting out of bed in the morning, the first thing I do is make my bed. And that allows me to feel accomplished, like I'm doing something. Anyway, you ever try to write with a frozen finger? I mean, think about it, right? I don't know why it just came to me, but like let's say, for instance, you're going outside and, your fingers are like frozen. You can't write with them, but your brain is the same way. It's got to warm up. So you got to get moving. So the reason why we need to get moving is to warm up our brain. That's it. And it starts flowing, right? That's number one. Just do it. 5 minutes. I promise you, it's not about doing all of these things. It's just about doing one thing consistently. That's all life is. And then when you do something consistently, you're proud of yourself for doing something consistently, instead of saying, I made excuses to not do the thing that I said I wanted to do. There's a lot of us right now that could probably think about one thing that they said that they were going to do yesterday, the day before. But the reason why they didn't get it done is because it was in a list of 40 other things. Shorten your list. Start with getting moving. Number 2, acknowledge the wins. It kind of goes back to the win framework, right? What's important now? Wins from today, important moments, three things that you're grateful for. These are the things that you could do, right? Hold on one second here. I got to get my wire because oh goodness. This is live, so gotta bear with me. My computer said it was about to die. So didn't have my charger plugged into the computer. Anyway, that's not important to you. Acknowledge wins, right? Acknowledge the wins. What's important now? So going back to the win framework, what's important now, right? Then we have talk to God. If there's anything that you're going to do to pick out anything of any of these, I would say that would definitely be the number one thing that will make the biggest impact in your life, is knowing that there's somebody that loves you unconditionally. Let me kind of break this down. Unconditionally. And when I say unconditionally, I mean that there's nothing that you could possibly do to win the heart of God. Now, we can be on a mission for Jesus's heart to, and when I say God, I'm talking about Jesus, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, right? Just to make that clear. And I think that what's important to me about talking to God is because it reminds me that there's love there. So much so that I believe, man, anybody that's a parent, we love our children. And to know that God loves us so much so that he gave his only son to die for our mistakes. Our mistakes, right? So when you think about our mistakes, right? These are all the things that we could have done differently if we would have known better, right? But now we do know better. So when you know better, you can do better, right? And so taking that time with God and reading the principles, reading the precepts, reading the parables, reading all of these things that are promises that God has given us to show us how we're so much greater than our current situation. So if you need proof, promises, precepts, principles, go to the Bible. I would combine these. Like you're almost like doubling down if you pick two of these, but at least pick one, right? If you start getting moving and talk to God, oh, forget about it. Your life is going to change in like just 3 or 4 days. Like too many of us go to the doctor to go get on some medication, which numbs us out. Then it keeps us from actually opening up the gate. And that's what happened to me, is that I was just numbing my brain to the point where I didn't even have any opportunity in my mind to open any of these doors, open this gate, right? So talking to God is going to create the number one thing, which is going to be peace and love. And then expanding your mind. This is the one that has, I would have to say, lately has been the most impactful for my well-being emotionally. My level of emotional intelligence hasn't come because I just woke up like this. No, it's been something that I've had to practice. And I realized it yesterday when I was actually cooking dinner, and Jaden, my little guy, he's 11. He actually asked if he could have a Sprite, and I said, "Yeah, you can have a Sprite, no worries." And there was 2 Sprite cans left on the top of the refrigerator, and he went and grabbed one, and the other one fell out of the box and exploded everywhere. Right. And after exploding everywhere, I was like, oh man, because it exploded all over the kitchen. So all of the Sprite went everywhere. And what I realized was that what was crazy is usually I would get very, very upset in the past from something like that. I remember when my daughters were his age. And at that time, I didn't have the same level of emotional intelligence. And I would get frustrated at things happening that I wish didn't happen. And it's like by reading books and expanding my mind, it's allowed me to realize that my life is a result of my actions. And my actions are a result of from my feelings. And my feelings were a result from my thoughts. And my thoughts were a result from my belief system. And by expanding my mind, I mean, I would listen to something on YouTube, listen to a podcast, but most importantly, read 10 pages of a book, because it's usually the most difficult. Well, it is for me anyway, based on my comprehension. So when I'm done, I feel the best about myself. And just 10 pages, like if you get caught up in it, no, just discipline yourself to read 10 pages and expand your mind. Because when you expand your mind, you start to then see things through a different perspective. And that's what this series of videos every Wednesday are all about. It's realizing that you don't need a new life, you just need a new lens, and expanding your mind. Okay? So the way to expand your mind is going to give you a new perspective. And think about it like this too. When kind of going back to this one here, I just want to say that it's kind of like a plug and an outlet. Like God should be the source of everything that you do. And when he is, you'll never run out of energy. If we think about how we're the only ones that can control our energy, or what happens in life determines or dictates our energy, then we're going to end up low on it. And I like to say that energy is temporary, but energy is permanent. And what is the energy? It's the G inside of me. The energy is the G inside of me. It's God. And this isn't talking about religion. This is talking about your relationship with God. You're saying, God, I need you before I open my phone. I need you before I do absolutely anything. It's like if you're a kid, you got to charge your tablet, right? Before you use it all day for a kid, right? It's like us. We are the tablet that needs to be charged. And the outlet in the wall is the relationship that we build with God. So we need to plug ourselves into the source and know that's how we will find ultimate peace and love through absolutely anything that we do. So I hope this video blesses you. I hope that it allows you to see that there's so many different ways that you could actually have the best morning ever without waking up any earlier, because it's not about what time you wake up. It's about what you do when you do wake up. And think about any of these frameworks that we talked about. But most importantly, dump your mind out the night before. And coming back to this win framework, just remember, think about it like this, right? In order to win, you have to understand what win means. A win means what's important now. What's important now? Like this, right? Wins. What's important now? How do you find a win? Look at your to-do list and ask yourself, did I do it? So a to-do list versus did-do list. And then important moments in our life. Like dump the important moments down so you can actually look back and reflect to see how far you've actually gone. And then when you wake up in the morning, write down the things that you're grateful for. Go through the GATE framework if you have to. Think about that your mind is just like a dump truck. And just really understand that, like, if we allow ourselves to release, we'll finally have peace. It's not about what time you wake up. It's about what you do when you do wake up. I pray that tonight you start this. Simple piece of paper, notepad, notebook. Comment below any takeaways that you took from this video. And all I ask is one thing, that if you got any value from this video, I just ask that you subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment, let me know what you'd like to hear more about, and share this. Because there's a person out there that really needs to see this video that the algorithm doesn't know that they need. There's somebody out there right now that this is the 6th video that I made on this channel. We're live every Wednesday morning, every Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And it's all about shifting our perspective. And to the person that's out there that doesn't understand that they can have a new lens, this video may be everything for them. I pray this blesses you. Hopefully you guys have a phenomenal day. I will see you next week on another episode of the Perspective Pause. But until then, make sure you take some time for some self-reflection, because momentum means nothing if you're going in the wrong direction. Take ownership, take action, and eventually you're going to take off. Let's go.